You were never meant to feel this disconnected. Somewhere deep inside, you already know this. But most people can't explain where that quiet ache comes from. The silent knowing that there's more. The sense of being trapped in a version of life that doesn't match what your soul remembers. This is where the great forgetting begins. From the moment we arrive, we're conditioned to believe only in what we can see. We're told to trust only the five senses, to shrink our limitless nature into something small, enough to fit the mold of survival, productivity, and logic. But the truth is far greater and far more confronting. You are not here to live inside a physical container. You are here to remember that the physical world, only the final layer of reality. The real work, the true odkrypischen, begins in the invisible, in the field, in the quantum. Most of us were taught to focus only on what's external, to chase results, hunt for signs, and measure progress by what can be counted. But this approach cuts you off from the very engine of manifestation, your inner frequency. The life you're living right now is not simply the product of choices or circumstances. It is a holographic printout of your internal state of being. Your thoughts, emotions, and even your unconscious programs are all broadcasting signals, and those signals are organizing the matter around you. Not metaphorically, literally. Quantum physics tells us that matter is just energy, condensed into form by the observer, by attention, by coherent vibration. Which means reality isn't something that happens to you. It's something that responds to you. So, how do you break the spell of forgetfulness? How do you wake up from the illusion that you are only a body, only a name, only a person trying to get there? You start by remembering where the true you lives. Not in the mind, not in the brain, but in the field. The quantum field isn't a poetic metaphor. It's a measurable, dynamic matrix of potential that surrounds and permeates everything. And your consciousness is part of it, not separate from it, not waiting for permission to access it, already woven into it, already it. Every thought you have sends a ripple through this field. Every emotion either speeds up or delays the reality you're calling in. And every time you forget this, you hand your creative power over to the illusion of matter. Many people say, I've tried to manifest, but it didn't work. Almost always, the reason is this. They tried to change the outside without shifting the frequency of their identity. You can't manifest abundance while vibrating lack. You can't call in love while unconsciously radiating fear. You can't become more till you align with the version of you that already is. The secret is not effort, it's alignment. You don't manifest with desire, you manifest with coherence. You don't attract with words, you attract with being. Right now, you might feel a gap between the life you have and the one you desire. That gap is not a punishment. It's a portal, a vibrational tension designed to awaken the part of you that's been dormant. Because you're not here just to observe the field. You're here to program it, to imprint your frequency onto it with intention, clarity, and presence. And that begins by going beyond the body, beyond survival, beyond trying to make it happen. This journey isn't about believing harder. It's about tuning deeper. Every manifestation begins with a shift in identity. So ask yourself, who would I be if I already lived my dream life? How would I think? Breathe, walk, speak? That's where it begins. Not when things change, but when you change who you're being. And the rest? The field, the signs, the synchronicities, they will follow. Because they've been waiting for you, Emperor. If you'd like, I can continue rewriting the second half, about the mind as a field, so it matches this same emotionally charged dial. Do you want me to continue with that part? Joe Dispenza says your personality creates your personal reality. But what he really means is this. Your vibrational signature is projecting a pattern into the field, and that pattern is being reflected back as your life. In other words, you're not simply perceiving reality. You're generating it. Every thought, every emotion, every expectation sends a Petsuaba wave into the field. And in alignment with the observer effect, the field responds by collapsing a specific possibilities and form. You are not passively watching life unfold, you are actively participating in its construction. When you believe your mind is trapped inside the body, you also believe you're trapped inside your circumstances. But when you realize your mind is infinite, when you remember that it's the energetic interface between you, and all that is, the entire game changes. You stop reacting to the world. You start programming it. You stop waiting for proof. You start becoming the cause. Because the mind, when unconfined, becomes a tool of pure intention. And that intention, when coherent, bends the quantum field. This isn't just theory. It's being demonstrated in labs. Lives are research in quantum biology, consciousness, and the HeartMath Institute all points to the same truth. Thought plus feeling plus attention creates measurable shifts in your electromagnetic output. And that output, your personal field, interacts with the unified field of everything. The gap between science and spirituality is no longer a hobama gap. It's a bridge. And you're walking across it right now. So ask yourself, if your mind is not inside your body, where else could it be reaching? What realities might it already be influencing? What version of you might it already be connected to, just waiting for you to match the frequency? This is the beginning of real manifestation. Not affirmations without feeling. Not intentions without embodiment, but pure vibrational alignment. This is where you stop playing by the laws of the material world and start collaborating with the laws of Butur energy. You are not thinking inside a box. You are radiating through a field. The mastered version of your life is not far away. It's already formed as a probability, waiting for you to become the kind of mind that can receive it. And you don't get there by working harder. You get there by becoming freer. If the universe were speaking to you, it wouldn't be using words. It wouldn't send signs in your native language. It wouldn't whisper instructions in your ear. The universe speaks only one language, frequency. And it's been responding to yours since the moment you were born. Most people go through life trying to change the outer world with force, effort, or willpower, never realizing they're shouting into the void while ignoring the only signal the field can actually hear, their vibration. Because everything is frequency, light, sound, thought, emotion, matter. All of it, energy moving at different speeds. And this energy isn't random. It's organized, intelligent, and constantly communicating. The electromagnetic field of your heart. Measurable to several feet from your body, carries information about your emotional state. Your brain waves shifting between beta, alpha, theta, and delta. Reflect the quality of your attention and perception, and your overall energy field, what mystics once called the aura and scientists now refer to as the biofield, constantly emits data into the larger quantum field. That field in turn mirrors it back not as metaphors, but as circumstances. This is why your life doesn't change when you desperately want it to. It changes when your vibration shifts. The quality of that vibration is determined not by what you say you want, but by who you are, being consistently, energetically, emotionally. Greg Braden calls it the language of feeling. He says, the field responds to coherent emotion, not intellectual affirmation. You can say, I am abundant all day long, but if you're vibrating in lack, worry, and unworthiness, the field hears that as your true request. It doesn't respond to your hopes, it responds to your signal. And this isn't just spiritual poetry, it's backed by quantum physics. The famous double-slit experiment showed that particles behave differently depending on whether they're observed. But the deeper implication is this: your awareness, your attention, your intention plays a direct role in shaping how reality behaves. Your personal reality is not just something you witness, it's something you generate. Every thought, every emotion, every expectation sends a signal into the quantum field. And in perfect accordance with the observer effect, that field collapses one possibility into forms based on your vibration. When you believe your mind is trapped inside your body, you also believe you're trapped inside your circumstances. But when you realize your mind is infinite, when you remember it is the energetic interface between you and all that is, everything changes. You stop reacting to the world. You start programming it. You stop waiting for proof. An unconfined mind becomes a tool of pure intention, and coherent intention bends the quantum field. This isn't wishful thinking. It's being demonstrated in laboratories and in lived experience. Research in quantum biology, consciousness studies, and the HeartMath Institute all point to the same truth. Thought plus feeling plus attention creates measurable shifts in your electromagnetic output. That output, the signal of your personal fielding, interacts with the unified field of everything. The so-called gap between science and spirituality is no longer a gap. It's a bridge, and you're walking it right now. So ask yourself, if your mind isn't locked inside your body, where else could it be reaching? What realities might it already be touching? What version of yourself is it already connected to, waiting for you to match the frequency? This is the beginning of real manifestation, not empty affirmations, not intentions without embodiment, but pure vibrational alignment. You're not thinking inside a box, you're radiating through a field. The next version of your life isn't out there, already exists as a probability, waiting for you to become the kind of mind that can receive it. And you do that, not by working harder, but by becoming freer. If the universe were speaking to you, it wouldn't use words. It wouldn't send a sign in your native language. It would speak one language only, frequency. And it's been responding to yours since the moment you arrived here. Most people try to change their outer world with force or willpower, never realizing they're shouting into the void while ignoring the only signal the field can hear, their vibration. Everything is frequency. Light, sound, thought, emotion, matter. all are energy, moving at different speeds. And this energy isn't random. It's organized, communicative, the electromagnetic field of your heart, measurable up to several feet from your body, carries information about your emotional state. Your brain waves, beta, alpha, theta, delta, reflect the quality of your attention and perception. Your overall field, what mystics call the aura and scientists now measure as the biofield, constantly sends data into the larger quantum field. That field mirrors your data back to you, not as metaphor, but as tangible life circumstances. This is why life doesn't change when you desperately want it to. It changes when your vibration changes. The quality of your vibration is determined not by what you say you want, but by who you're being. Consistently, energetically, emotionally. Greg Braden calls this the language of feeling. The field responds to coherent emotion, not empty, intellectual affirmations. You can say, "I am abundant" all day long, but if you're vibrating in lack, worry, and unworthiness, the field takes that as your true request. It doesn't respond to your hopes. It responds to your signal. The double-slit experiment in quantum physics showed that particles behave differently depending on whether they're observed. The deeper implication: your awareness, your attention, your intention directly shape how reality behaves. The observer isn't just seeing, the observer is selecting. Every moment, you're collapsing waves of possibility into specific outcomes through the energetic tone you're carrying. And what determines that tone? Your frequency. In this context, frequency is the vibrational match between your inner state and the external possibilities in the quantum field. High-frequency emotions, gratitude, just create coherence in your heart and brain. They make your energy clean, focused, magnetic. Low-frequency states, shame, fear, doubt, frustration, create chaos, scatter your energy, weaken your signal, and send mixed messages to the field. The clearer and more coherent your vibration, the faster and more powerfully reality responds. Joe Dispenza teaches that when your thoughts and feelings align, when intention and emotion vibrate in harmony, you become electromagnetic. Your body becomes a tuning device, and the universe becomes the amplifier. Heart rate variability studies confirm that people in elevated emotional states can enter deep coherence that changes physiology, strengthens the immune system, and most importantly, shifts their perception of time, opportunity, and potential. This is where things get quantum. When you realize your words, frequency shapes not only how you feel, but what you experience. Everything becomes a reflection not of your effort, but of your energy. You stop asking, "What do I need to do?" and start asking, "Who do I need to be?" You stop chasing, start tuning in. The frequency you embody is the reality you collapse. To know what frequency you're broadcasting, look. Your current life is the echo of your recent vibration, not your desires, not your plans, your being. If you don't like what you see, it's feedback, not punishment. Time to recalibrate. Time to choose a new emotional baseline. This is why quantum manifestation starts with inner work, not as a moral lesson, but because it's physics. The field responds to resonance, not effort. And resonance comes from coherence, clarity, and alignment. The more your thoughts, feelings, and actions etch these state of already having what you desire, the more reality confirms it. Not because you forced it, but because you matched it. Your frequency is fully within your power. It's not controlled by circumstances, it's reflected by them. So the next time you want change out there, remember, the signal starts in here. Then comes a pivotal moment on the path of awakening, when the old tools stop working. Visualizing feels mechanical. Affirmations feel hollow. Chasing outcomes feels like running in circles. That's when the soul whispers a deeper truth. You're not here to just improve your current reality, you're here to step into an entirely new one. This is the dimensional leap, not moving from one place to another, but from one state of being to another. It starts not with action, but with identity. You are already multidimensional. You're not just a body in space-time. You're a field of consciousness projecting a reality based on frequency. Most people live in the densest level of perception, the third dimension, linear time, cause and effect, separation, effort, struggle. Beyond this lies the fourth and fifth dimensions, realms where time bends, energy responds faster, and reality reflects consciousness, not circumstance. In the fourth dimension, time becomes fluid. You see, your thoughts and emotions shaping your timeline. In the fifth, identity itself becomes fluid. Manifestation stops being about getting and becomes about being. Here, the future is no longer chased. It's chosen by frequency. Bob Proctor said, "You attract to you the vibration you're in." Neville Goddard taught, "Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled." Both point to the same truth. Dimensional reality is about embodying, not hoping. You don't wait for the life you want. You step into the dimension where it already exists by tuning into its frequency now. In practice, this means you stop asking, "How do I get from here to there?" and start asking, "Who must I be to collapse that version of reality you walk through?" You're present, as if it's just the echo of an old you, while your new frequency shapes what comes next. Bringing the vibration of your future self into the present moment isn't delusion, it's resonance. When you think, feel, and act from the frequency of already having what you desire, the universe naturally responds. Not because you're manipulating it, but because you've shifted dimensions. This leap isn't about pretending or faking. It's about fully anchoring into a state of being so aligned with your soul's truth that the world bends to reflect it. When you embody your highest timeline, your biology shifts, your posture changes, your decisions align, your boundaries refine, and your energy expands. The field, being purely responsive, rearranges to match. In this space, you transcend linear time. The future isn't ahead, it's within you. When you connect with the fifth dimensional self that already lives your dream life, you don't wait years, you begin receiving now. Signs, synchronicities, and opportunities appear because you've stopped transmitting longing and started transmitting wholeness. The paradox is that the harder you try to force the leap, the less it happens. The dimensional leap is surrender, not strategy. It's the dissolving of the old self, trapped in worry, doubt, and waiting, and the rise of the true self, radiating from its highest frequency. Quantum manifestation isn't about effort, it's about resonance. And resonance only happens when you stop trying to get there and start vibrating as if you're already there. In this state, time collapses and reality bends. What once felt far suddenly feels near. People, Opportunities and insights appear in perfect sequence. You begin living in the flow, not by accident, but because you tuned to it. You leaped into a new timeline, not by changing the world, but by changing the frequency of the self who perceives it. The dimensional leap isn't outside of you. It's not luck. It's a shift in awareness, a conscious choice to operate from your highest field, even when your senses haven't yet caught up. The more you anchor into this state, the more your outer world mirrors your inner one. If you feel caught between the life you have and the life you want, remember, the bridge isn't built with time. It's built with vibration. You're not waiting for the leap. You are the leap. There comes a point in the inner journey when words fall short, logic bends, and truth must be felt. This is where the light body awakens, not as something mystical or distant, but as your most coherent, radiant, and aligned energetic blueprint. It's the part of you always connected to Source, always vibrating at your highest potential. It's not separate from you, it is you beneath the patterns, beyond the trauma, under the conditioning. Activating it is not a performance, it's a remembrance. Across traditions, the light body has many names. The Ka in ancient Egypt, prana or chi in Eastern philosophy, or the coherent heart-brain field in modern, science-informed spirituality. Joe Dispenza calls it coherence. Greg Braden calls it the divine matrix responding to but deep elevated emotion. I'll agree on this. Your body is not just biological, it is electromagnetic and vibrational. When you embody high-frequency emotions, gratitude, compassion, joy, trust Imam, your electromagnetic field expands, becoming ordered, radiant, and powerful. This is the light body coming online. Activation begins with coherence between mind and heart. This isn't metaphor, it's physics, physics. HeartMath Institute studies show that slow breathing, heart-focused awareness, and intentionally generating elevated feelings create measurable coherence. This signals the brain to harmonize, quieting chaos and allowing energy to flow. Next comes intentional embodiment. Visualization isn't fantasy, it's instruction. When you visualize not just what you want, but who you are becoming, and you do it with deep feeling, you train your field to that frequency. The subconscious doesn't care if it's imagined or physical, it responds to vibration. Each time you breathe, center in your heart and see your higher self living fully. You sculpt your field into alignment. You're feeding the light body with codes of remembrance. Another practice is vibrational anchoring, choosing small symbolic actions that keep you in your desired frequency. If your higher self is peaceful, how do they start the morning? What do they refuse? What space do they protect? What nourishes them? When these choices become sacred rituals, your nervous system adopts a new baseline. Resistance fades, and your energy becomes congruent. The light body doesn't require perfection, only consistent alignment. And true activation isn't about escaping the body, it's about fully inhabiting it as a vessel for your highest frequency. Frequency is about treating your body as an instrument, not a burden, tuning it through rest, hydration, sunlight, breath, and movement. Your cells are always listening. Your breath leaves an imprint. The way you carry yourself communicates directly with the field. The more consciously and lovingly you inhabit this physical form, the more effortlessly your energetic form shines through. One essential principle often overlooked is vibrational congruence. The light body cannot fully thrive in an environment of chronic misalignment. If your surroundings, your relationships, digital inputs consistently reflect fear, chaos, or depletion, maintaining your authentic frequency becomes more difficult. Activating the light body means making space for stillness, for intuition, for your frequency to settle and rise. It's in these quiet moments that your true signal becomes clear. You're not waiting for a sign. You are the sign. Every time you choose stillness over reaction, presence over distraction, faith over fear, you're not just improving a day, you're opening a quantum portal. The field feels your frequency. There may be no fireworks or instant bliss, but you'll notice subtle shifts, new perspectives, a deeper calm, moments of unshakable knowing. Slowly, the outer world begins to match your inner vibration, not because you forced it, but because you remembered that your state of being is the true point of attraction. Ask yourself, what would your light body self do right now? How would they breathe, move, respond, begin there? Begin again. The quantum field doesn't require drama. It requires coherence. And that coherence is born every time you stop, searching for the light and start being it. There comes a moment when the seeker realizes the truth they've been chasing has always been within, not as an abstract concept, but as a lived reality. You already are what you wish to become. The field doesn't wait for achievements to respond. It mirrors your essence in this very moment. Bob Proctor once said, "You're not a physical being having a spiritual experience. You're a spiritual being having a physical experience." This is not just inspiration. It's a description of reality. The field is not somewhere far away. It is within and around you, responding to your vibration. Your reality isn't a punishment or a reward. It's feedback from the same intelligence that forms galaxies, responding to your subtlest frequency. When you stop chasing and start embodying, you collapse the gap. You dissolve the illusion of separation. You bring the future into the now. Time isn't linear. Every version of you already exists, encoded in the field, like music waiting for the right frequency to be played. The moment you shift your vibration, life begins to respond, not always immediately in form, but instantly, in feeling. That inner peace without cause, that quiet joy, that's the first sign of alignment. The most powerful transformation isn't external, it's the decision to stop postponing your embodiment. Your future self doesn't need you to beg, prove, or wait. It needs you to remember, every frequency is available. Now, identity is a choice, and expansion is an act of permission. Live as if it's already yours, because it is. Speak with clarity. Walk with certainty. Act with the knowing that you're not becoming, you're revealing. Manifestation doesn't come from force, it comes from identity. When you know who you are, you stop negotiating with the field, you start creating with it. The field doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you can hold. And you can only hold your next reality when you become the version of yourself who would naturally live it. That version isn't far. It's here, behind your next choice, your next breath, your next moment of presence. So breathe, not from doubt or longing, but from the self Who knows? You already are the frequency of abundance, the vibration of love, the energy of wholeness. It's all here. You're ready.